My name is Dorothy, and I'm 34 years old. 17 days ago, my ex-husband, the man who destroyed me 3 years ago and left me shattered on our kitchen floor, showed up at my door at 11 o'clock at night holding a screaming baby. A baby that wasn't mine. A baby I'd never seen before. And what I did next? Well, it changed everything. Before I tell you what I did, you need to know why I had no choice. Because this story? It doesn't start with that knock on my door. It starts 6 years earlier, when I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. Michael and I met at a hospital fundraiser in Boston. I was a pediatric nurse, exhausted from a double shift, and he was this charming pharmaceutical sales rep who made me laugh until my cheeks hurt. God, I fell so hard, so fast. Within 8 months, we were married. Within a year, we were trying for a baby. He was my everything. My best friend. My protector. Or so I thought. He'd bring me coffee every morning, kiss my forehead, tell me I was the strongest woman he knew. We had dreams, you know? A house with a big backyard, 3 kids, maybe a dog. I trusted him with every piece of my soul. I would have done anything for that man, anything. But slowly, so slowly, I didn't even notice things changed. The coffee stopped coming, the kisses became colder, the compliments turned into criticisms, and I blamed myself. I thought if I just tried harder, loved him better, became more perfect, he'd come back to me. And looking back now, all the signs were there. I just didn't see them until it was almost too late. But what I didn't know then was that those signs were about to lead me to a moment that would change my life forever. That knock came on a Thursday night. I hadn't heard from Michael in 3 years, not since the day he told me he couldn't do this anymore and walked out with 2 suitcases and our entire savings account. I'd rebuilt my life, slowly, painfully, brick by broken brick. So when I opened that door and saw him standing there, looking like absolute hell, with a screaming infant in his arms and tears streaming down his face, my entire body went cold. The baby was maybe 4 months old, wrapped in a stained blanket, wailing so hard her little face was purple. And Michael, God, Michael looked like death. His eyes were bloodshot. His hands were shaking. And he kept looking over his shoulder like someone was chasing him. "Dorothy, please," he begged, his voice cracking. "Please don't call anyone. Please, just, I need your help. She needs your help." I should have slammed that door in his face. I should have called the police right then and there. But that baby, that innocent baby, was screaming in a way that made every one of my nursing instincts kick into overdrive. "Whose baby is this?" I demanded, my voice shaking with rage and confusion. And when he told me what he did, when he told me whose baby this was and what had happened to her mother, something inside me snapped. But before I tell you about that moment, you need to understand how we got here. I need to take you back to when the abuse started. Because it didn't start with fists or screaming, it started with little comments. "Are you really going to eat that? That dress is a little tight. Don't you think? My mother says you're not very domestic." Little cuts that bled me dry over time. Then came the control. He wanted to know where I was every minute, who I was texting, why I smiled at the male cashier at the grocery store. He started coming home angry, slamming doors, punching walls. I'd tiptoe around our apartment, trying not to set him off. The worst incident before he left? I came home late from a shift. A child had gone into cardiac arrest, and I'd helped save her life. I was emotionally drained, physically exhausted, and Michael was waiting in the dark. "Where the hell have you been?" he screamed. "I called you 15 times." I tried to explain, but he didn't care. He grabbed my phone and threw it against the wall, shattering it into pieces. Then he grabbed my shoulders and shook me so hard my teeth rattled. "You think you're so important? You think these people need you more than I do?" I was so scared, so broken. I tried to leave twice. Twice, I packed a bag and made it to my car. But he'd cry, he'd apologize, he'd promise to change. And like an idiot, I believed him. Until the day I told him I might be infertile. The doctor said my chances of conceiving naturally were slim. And you know what Michael said? He said, What's the point of you then? 2 weeks later, he was gone. But nothing prepared me for what he was about to tell me that night. Because it involved a child. His child. And what he confessed next made my blood run absolutely cold. Standing in my doorway with that screaming baby, Michael finally told me the truth. After he left me, he'd started dating someone new within weeks. Rebecca, 23 years old. A waitress. He got her pregnant within months. And now? Now Rebecca was in the ICU, beaten so badly she was in a coma. And the baby, this precious, innocent baby, had been left alone in their apartment for almost 6 hours while Michael had been God knows where. He needed someone to take her. Just for a few days, he said. Just until Rebecca woke up. I looked at this man, this pathetic, desperate man who had destroyed my life, and I felt nothing. No love. No pity. Just cold, calculated fury. In that moment, I came up with a plan so crazy, he thought I'd lost my mind. "Give me the baby," I said calmly. "And then you're going to tell me everything. Every single thing. Or I swear to God, Michael, I will call the police right now, and you will never see daylight again." And what he told me next, it was so much worse than I could have ever imagined. I took that baby from his trembling hands, and the moment I held her, my heart shattered into a million pieces. She was so small, so helpless. Her diaper was soaked through, her clothes were dirty, and she was burning up with fever. While I immediately started caring for her, changing her, checking her temperature, trying to soothe her, Michael paced my living room like a caged animal. "Start talking," I commanded, my voice like ice as I prepared a bottle. Now. And the story that came out of his mouth? It made me sick. He'd been seeing Rebecca while we were still married. That's right. He'd been cheating on me for months before he left. She got pregnant. And suddenly, he had his out from our miserable marriage. But being a father? That wasn't as fun as he thought. The baby cried too much. Rebecca was always tired. He started staying out late. Started drinking. Started getting violent. The night Rebecca ended up in the ICU, he admitted it. He hit her while she was holding their baby. She fell and struck her head on the corner of their coffee table. And instead of calling an ambulance immediately, he panicked. He grabbed the baby and ran. Left Rebecca bleeding on the floor for over an hour before finally making an anonymous call. I felt bile rising in my throat as I held this innocent child. "You tried to kill her," I whispered. "You tried to kill the mother of your baby." And that's when he raised his hand to hit me. But he didn't know who he was dealing with. Not anymore. And what happened next shocked even me. I stepped back quickly, clutching the baby to my chest. "You touch me," and I scream so loud every neighbor in this building calls 911. I hissed. "Try me." Michael's hand froze in midair. Something in my eyes must have scared him because he actually backed down. But he didn't leave. Oh no. Instead, he started the manipulation. The same manipulation that had worked on me for years. "Dorothy, please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I've changed. I'm trying to be better. This is all it's a misunderstanding. Rebecca fell. It was an accident. She's clumsy. You know how it is." "Stop!" I shouted, my voice echoing through my apartment. The baby startled and began crying again. "Stop lying to me. Stop manipulating me. I know exactly what you did." He changed tactics, started crying. Actual tears. "I have nowhere else to go. My family won't help me. Her family wants me dead. The police are looking for me. Dorothy, please. For the sake of what we once had." "What we once had?" I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You mean when you were controlling me, abusing me, stealing from me, cheating on me? That's what you want me to remember?" He started pacing again, getting more agitated, pulling at his hair. "You don't understand the pressure I was under. You were always working. You couldn't even give me a baby. What was I supposed to do?" There it was. the blame shifting, making everything my fault, just like he always did. I held that baby tighter and made a decision. I pulled out my phone. "I'm calling the police," I said calmly. "And Child Protective Services. This baby needs medical attention, and you need to be in jail." He lunged forward. "Don't you dare." That's when I heard footsteps in the hallway. My neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, an elderly woman who'd become like a grandmother to me after my divorce. "Dorothy? Is everything all right in there?" she called through the door. Michael's face went white. "Tell her everything's fine," he demanded in a harsh whisper. "Or I swear." "Or what?" I challenged. "You'll hit me too? In front of a witness? With a baby in my arms?" "You're not that stupid, Michael." But I was wrong. Because what happened next proved just how far he and his family were willing to go to protect themselves. And trust me, you won't believe what they tried to do. My phone started ringing. Michael's mother. I hadn't heard from that woman since the divorce. She'd called me terrible things: a gold digger, a manipulator, a woman who trapped her precious son. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Then came the text messages. "Dorothy, we know Michael is with you. Give him the baby and let him go. This is none of your business. Family business stays in the family." Family business? A woman was in a coma. I started recording everything on my phone, hiding it slightly but keeping it positioned to capture audio. Michael was still pacing, making his own calls. To his brother. His father. Coordinating something. "She won't listen," he was saying. "She's being hysterical. You need to come over here and help me." "No, she won't give me the baby." "Yes, I know. Just get here." My blood ran cold. They were coming. Here. To my apartment. Within 20 minutes, there was pounding on my door. Not knocking. Pounding. "Dorothy Chen, open this door." Michael's father's voice boomed through the walls. "You're harboring a fugitive and kidnapping a child." I almost laughed at the irony. Me? Kidnapping? I was literally holding a baby that had been abandoned by her father after he'd nearly killed her mother. The baby I was now calling Lily in my head because I couldn't keep thinking of her as the baby. She was burning with fever, and I'd already given her infant Tylenol and was desperately trying to get fluids into her. "I'm calling the police," I shouted back. "If you break down this door, you'll be the ones arrested." But they didn't care. Michael's brother started trying to jimmy the lock. I could hear them arguing about whether to call their lawyer or just handle this themselves. That's when I heard the most chilling sentence. "We'll say she's mentally unstable. We'll say she kidnapped the baby. We'll have her committed if we have to." They were going to frame me. They were going to try to make Emmy look like the criminal while protecting their abusive son. I looked down at Lily, finally sleeping fitfully in my arms despite the chaos, her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. And I thought about Rebecca, lying in a hospital bed, fighting for her life, with no idea where her baby was. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. But they didn't know I was already one step ahead. And what I'd done while they were threatening me? It was about to destroy them completely. You see, I'd been recording everything from the moment Michael showed up at my door, every confession, every threat, every admission of guilt. And I'd already sent it to 3 people: my lawyer, my best friend who's a prosecutor, and my cousin who works for the state's Child Protective Services. I also had Mrs. Patterson on speed dial, and she'd already called the police the moment she heard shouting. While Michael's family was trying to break into my apartment, I heard the most beautiful sound in the world: sirens. Multiple sirens. The pounding stopped. I heard Michael curse. I heard his father say, "Run, run now." But it was too late. I opened my door to find 4 police officers, 2 social workers, and Mrs. Patterson standing in the hallway. Michael's entire family was frozen like deer in headlights. "Officers," I said calmly, still holding Lily. "My name is Dorothy Chen. I'm a registered pediatric nurse. This baby was brought to my door approximately 45 minutes ago by her father, Michael Chen, my ex-husband. He confessed to me that he physically assaulted the baby's mother, Rebecca Martinez, leaving her in critical condition at, I believe, Boston Medical Center. He admitted to leaving this baby alone for over 6 hours before bringing her here. The baby has a fever of 102 degrees and shows signs of neglect and dehydration. I have recordings of his full confession. And I have recordings of his family attempting to threaten me and break into my home to retrieve the baby and help him flee. You should have seen their faces. Michael looked like he'd seen a ghost. His mother actually stumbled backward. His father started sputtering about lawyers and false accusations. But I wasn't done. Furthermore, I continued, my voice growing stronger with every word, Michael Chen is also guilty of domestic violence against me during our marriage, financial abuse, and emotional abuse. While I chose not to press charges at the time of our divorce, I am now willing to provide testimony and evidence for any investigation into his pattern of abusive behavior. The lead officer looked at Michael. Sir, put your hands behind your back. Michael's face crumbled. He actually started crying. Dorothy, please, don't do this. Think about what we had. Think about, I am thinking about what we had, I said, my voice breaking with emotion. I'm thinking about the woman I was before you destroyed her. I'm thinking about the years I wasted loving a monster. I'm thinking about Rebecca, fighting for her life because you couldn't control your rage. And I'm thinking about this innocent baby who deserves so much better than you. As they put handcuffs on Michael, his mother tried one last attack. You vindictive bitch, you couldn't give him a baby, so now you're stealing someone else's. I looked her dead in the eyes. No, ma'am. I'm saving someone else's baby from your son. There's a difference. They arrested Michael right there in my hallway. They also detained his father and brother for attempted breaking and entering and conspiracy. His mother was escorted out, screaming about lawsuits and false accusations. And that's when something happened that I never expected. Someone arrived who would change everything I thought I knew about this situation. Her name was Maria, and she was Rebecca's sister. When she saw Lily in my arms, she just collapsed, sobbing. Oh my God, we've been looking everywhere for her, she cried. Rebecca woke up 2 hours ago, and the first thing she asked about was her baby. We had no idea where Michael had taken her. I gently handed Lily to her aunt, and my arms felt suddenly, devastatingly empty. Maria held her niece like she was made of glass, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for protecting her. Thank you for not letting him get away with this. The social workers checked on Lily, and thankfully, aside from the fever and some minor dehydration, she was okay. She'd be monitored overnight at the hospital where her mother was recovering, and Maria would be granted temporary custody while Rebecca healed. Rebecca's injuries were severe: fractured skull, broken ribs, internal bleeding, but she was going to survive. She was going to survive and fight for her daughter. As for Michael, he's been charged with attempted murder, child endangerment, child abandonment, assault, and a list of other charges so long it would take me 5 minutes to read them all. His trial is set for next spring. His family? They've been plastered all over the local news for trying to help a fugitive and attempting to intimidate a witness. The pharmaceutical company Michael worked for fired him within 24 hours. His mother lost her position on the hospital board. His father's law practice is under investigation. Turns out, when you spend years enabling an abuser, there are consequences. But what happened next in my own life? That's what really changed me forever. Life has changed for me too. Rebecca and I have become, not friends exactly, but something like it. She's in therapy, healing both physically and emotionally. She tells me she should have seen the signs, and I tell her the same thing someone once told me. Abuse makes you blind to red flags because you're too busy trying to survive. I've started volunteering with a domestic violence organization. I share my story. I tell other women that leaving is possible, that healing is possible, that you can rebuild yourself from the ashes of what someone else burned down. 3 years ago, Michael left me broken on my kitchen floor, convinced I was worthless, convinced I would never be whole again. But standing in that hallway, holding that baby, watching the man who destroyed me get led away in handcuffs, I realized something profound. He didn't break me. He broke the version of me that accepted abuse. And from those pieces, I built someone stronger, someone who stands up, someone who fights back, someone who protects the innocent instead of enabling monsters. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm completely healed. There are still nights I wake up crying. There are still moments when I doubt myself, when his voice echoes in my head telling me I'm not enough. But then I remember Lily's tiny hand wrapped around my finger. I remember Rebecca's tears of gratitude. I remember Michael's face when he realized I wasn't his victim anymore. And I remember that I am enough. I am more than enough. And now I need to tell you the one thing every victim needs to hear. This is the message that saved my life, and it might just save yours too. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are not too sensitive. You are not asking for too much. You are not the problem. If someone makes you feel small, makes you doubt yourself, makes you walk on eggshells, makes you apologize for existing, they are the problem, not you. Never you. You deserve love that doesn't hurt. You deserve partnership that doesn't diminish you. You deserve happiness that doesn't come with conditions. And if you're in a situation right now where you feel trapped, where you feel like there's no way out, I promise you, there is. It might not be easy. It might be the hardest thing you ever do. But you can do it. You are stronger than you know, braver than you believe, more valuable than they've told you. Don't wait for them to change. They won't. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It won't come. Don't wait until you have everything figured out. You'll figure it out along the way. Just take the first step. Make the call. Pack the bag. Tell someone you trust. Do whatever you have to do to survive, and then do whatever you have to do to thrive, because you deserve to thrive. You deserve to wake up without fear. You deserve to live without constantly trying to predict someone's mood. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. You deserve a life where you're not just surviving, but actually living. Michael thought he could destroy me. He thought leaving me broken would be the end of my story. But here I am, standing in my truth, using my voice, helping others find theirs. He didn't write my ending. I did, and you can write yours too. I promise you. You can. So to every person watching this who's been where I was, who's being controlled, manipulated, hurt, diminished, hear me when I say this. Your abuser is wrong about you. Whatever they've told you about yourself, whatever names they've called you, whatever inadequacies they've convinced you of, it's all lies. Every word of it. You are worthy, you are valuable, you are deserving of love and respect and kindness, and you are not alone. There are people who will help you, people who will believe you, people who will stand with you. You just have to find the courage to reach out, and I know that's terrifying. I know it feels impossible, but I also know it's the first step to freedom. Take it. Please. Take it. Because 3 years ago, I was convinced my life was over. And now I'm standing here, whole and healing, helping save others. That knock on my door 17 days ago, it could have pulled me back into Michael's chaos. It could have broken me all over again. But instead, it became the moment I proved to myself that I'm not his victim anymore. I'm a survivor, a fighter, a woman who refuses to let abuse win. And so are you. Even if you don't feel like it right now. Even if you can't see it yet. You are. You absolutely are. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for bearing witness to my pain and my triumph. And if you take nothing else from this, take this. You deserve better. You deserve so much better. And better is possible. I'm living proof. Stay strong. Stay brave. And never, ever let someone convince you that you deserve to be hurt, because you don't. None of us do. Not ever.